Yeah, I'm in a beautiful mood. Obviously, it's a beautiful day.
Yeah.
My Twitter account just got suspended. I'm loving it.
I was gonna say, I was like, Ashley went and got herself suspended. Like, what happened?
I mean, I always knew the day would come that I would sacrifice my badge for the bit,
Mm-hmm.
and today was the day. I just always was like, I was gonna know. I was like, the second I felt it, and I knew.
I'm gonna be Donald Trump. What did you say?
He had that tweet that was like, I won this election by so much, and then I changed my name because I have a badge.
Yeah.
So I changed it and put his picture, and then I was just like, oh, I meant to say erection. Like,
Hilarious.
fucking autocorrect. Uh
Amazing.
yeah, they took my badge in 2 minutes, if even. I like refreshed it and I was like, oh, they just took my badge.
No,
And I was like,
no.
yeah. And I was like, oh, you know what? That's actually fine. Whatever. I don't care about being fucking verified on Twitter.
I
And then
mean,
and then
it's a
yeah.
win for blue and then a loss of your blue.
Yeah, I was like, whatever, I got the blue check because I had this like media job. So I was like, whatever. If I
I'm
lose it
sure you'll get
now,
it back.
yeah, I was like, I'm a comic. People know what I do by this point, whatever. And then I refreshed the page 5 minutes later and it was like account suspended. And I was like, okay,
Fuck, fuck,
fair
fuck.
enough.
Yeah, yeah. I was saying to Robin, it's kind of like Murphy's Law with this podcast. Like we always get people on and then their accounts get like taken down for like shadow banning or something they did or like whatever it was. But it's like the week that we put your episode out, like it will be tough to promote. So fans, if you're listening, this is on you.
I think I just need to like pay penance to the Twitter gods and be like, I promise I'll never do it again or
You're just
whatever.
in like a little baby
But
timeout.
yeah.
Yeah. And like to celebrate. Like what a fun day anyway.
Yeah, it's just, out of all the weekends to do it, at least I know everyone's just like celebrating, partying.
Yeah.
I'm still on my secret accounts, like looking at all the jokes. It's
Yeah, of
great.
course.
And
Are those your roommates?
yeah, my
Okay.
roommate and
Okay.
her
I was
friend,
like,
they were
Robin.
like, we're drinking mimosas and eating edibles over here. I'm high. You probably can tell. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
New Jersey's legal now. I'm
Oh hell
pumped.
yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I love I'm just so happy about this. And yes. Oh man, there we go.
Oh my God. What a fun day. I knew this was gonna be a good recording.
Yeah. I was like, this is going to be so fun. We're all going to be in a good mood. I mean, if things had gone the other way, I would have been like, I can't do this. I'm crying
Very
under my
somber
bed.
day. No. And
Yeah.
the thing is like also it wasn't a landslide. So like we should still be like a little sad because like there are so many people
Yeah.
who still are like so fucking evil, but like at least there's like enough.
Yeah. And I wasn't expecting a landslide for Biden. I think most people know I was like a big Bernie person. So I definitely wasn't like,
Yeah.
oh, this is going to be super easy for Biden. And even with COVID, I was like, that doesn't guarantee anything.
Yeah.
And I'm really happy to be wrong. I think,
Yeah.
Of course, a lot of people still voted for Trump, but it's beautiful to me that Biden did not only win the popular vote, but he won the Electoral College so thoroughly that even
Mm-hmm.
if like we're contesting votes in Georgia, it's like it doesn't matter.
It doesn't
If you want to
matter.
contest votes in Arizona, it doesn't matter. It's just like Trump lost so wonderfully to me
Yeah.
that gives me hope in the country that like, okay, we still have work, but I don't know. I
I did
guess,
have a moment where I pictured him trying to abolish the Electoral College, though,
yeah.
and like that happening this way and just like still being happy.
And I would still be so happy. Like if Trump is just like, I'm getting like he would just lose because he I
Because he
mean, and has
lost.
won like what more votes than any president in history in the popular vote.
Yeah.
Like he lost. So even if Trump is like, we're getting rid of the Electoral College, I'd be like, thank you. It's
Yeah.
a wonderful idea.
Good. That's a
Absolutely
win for
agree.
us.
Yeah.
And like, I'm stoked for us to all get on the same page about COVID. Like, that it's
Yeah.
not going to be a political thing to wear a mask. It's not going to be a political thing to stay inside. You're not going to be
Yeah.
like a cuck snowflake loser.
Loser.
Like, it's like,
Because
I
yeah,
think
because you
it's
want to
going to
get
go
tested
away.
regularly.
Yeah.
This is the first time I'm genuinely like, okay, because I think things are going to get really bad. We're obviously having these huge spikes right now. So I think
Yeah.
this next wave is coming. I don't even know what wave it is, but obviously things are going to get bad. And I at least feel like we have someone who cares about that, who's going to take it seriously, who isn't just like, it'll be gone by Easter.
Mm-hmm.
But I actually hope now, like, oh, with it, like, in a year,
Fauci's
Maybe.
probably so happy. He's like, no one's going to threaten to behead me.
Yeah.
It's crazy that you and Steve Bannon both got banned.
Oh wow, Twitter took out me and Steve.
You and Steve Bannon.
Me and Steve. I don't want to say, but like, I think that speaks for itself.
It really does.
I think that says all it needs to say.
Robin doesn't know this, but we pushed this back like so many times just because we were like, we should just like respond like accordingly, because like this whole week, like initially I was like, okay, this episode we're just going to talk about TV and like what you can watch to like unwind that's not the news or something, because like a lot of people were just like so glued to the TV. And now I think it's obviously like a pivot to like, okay, what do we watch now that we are relaxed?
Yeah. And also this whole week, all I watched was the news. I was like, I kept telling myself, don't watch MSNBC, turn it off, take a break, watch something else. And I would just watch like our cartoon president. And then I'd just be like, it's so funny. I love it. And then I would just be like, well, I may as well just watch the news. Like,
I loved Fox News this week. It was so wonderful to just like watch that. Like, I honestly do think they did a good job. You know, like the scariest thing about the potential of losing is like war, right? But like Fox News hasn't been trying to do war still. Like,
yeah, they kind of they ease their viewers into it. I feel like by calling Arizona earlier than everyone else, people were really upset about that. But it was kind of like, okay, you guys need to face this, because even without Arizona, this man is gonna win. So like, maybe just get used to that reality.
And like, don't embarrass for like us or yourselves for the future. Like, there's going to be Republicans forever, but like there was just it's just Donald Trump. Like,
just time to distance yourselves, time to call it out. That was a mistake. Let's I don't know. I think the Republican Party obviously has a lot of soul searching they need to do. I don't know that they have the souls to do it.
Democrats too, though. Honestly, like
too.
Some of the winning that's exciting is like, now we can call Joe Biden out for a bunch of shit that we don't like.
I am so excited to call out Biden Harris. That's fun. I love making jokes about, our VP is a cop. That's going to be fun. That's going to be fun.
And I think that I think this was a good, nice year of learning for the people that did learning. For the people who didn't, unfortunate. But like
the people who picked up a book over the summer, that's like, oh, I kind of understand a little bit. Like, we should abolish the police. Like, they kind of can look at this presidency now and go, oh, wait, we got to ask more questions. It's not just not just enough that our VP is a black woman, but wow, they can be harmful too. So that's my hope, is that we as a nation kind of get smarter to that.
Totally. That's the other thing, is like, people are like, oh, now we're not a lot of people, but I've heard some people being like, now we can go back to normal. It's like, no, the goal is like to like move forward and make more progress. And yeah, you can have normal days where you're not stressed out of your fucking mind anymore. Like, we can give you that. But otherwise, like, yeah, you should still want to make progress.
Yeah, exactly. I think, I don't know, it feels better knowing we don't have someone in office who could, I don't know, like start a world war from Twitter. Like, okay, we can breathe a little easier.
I love that for us. I love watching a boring political speech.
Yeah. And then we can still be like, okay, but hey, kids in cages, that started under you, Biden. So like, what are you doing?
Get them out.
Yeah. So I think I feel more hopeful than I did. I have more hope in like the white people of America, and hopefully the Democratic Party realizes the value of funding grassroots organizations, especially those led by people of color, Black people.
Yeah.
Because clearly they're getting the job done. They come on.
The white women are not doing a great job.
No.
We are very embarrassed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't love that. But hopefully they can do better.
Yeah. I will say, in terms of like white women doing better and television, which is why you brought me on the podcast.
Yeah.
I will say I have been enjoying The Queen's Gambit on Netflix. That is like a show about a solid white girl. Like, I'm just like, I lost a lot of faith in white female, people because of the elections, but also TV shows when I saw Emily in Paris. Emily in Paris was right. It was so bad.
I was like, this is the worst TV I've seen in a really long time. I'm going to keep watching it for sure. I'm going to finish it in one day.
Stop. Yeah.
And then somebody told me if you watch it as a farce about French culture, it's good. but I
could see that.
Yeah.
I also worked in advertising and media and marketing, and Emily did remind me of so many just like horrible like media white women who like went to state school and they love brunch that I worked with. She
and
really did
saying
remind me
their
of them.
major in every
Yeah.
conversation. She's like, I work in marketing. Hello.
Yeah, I work in marketing. I majored in communications. The Queen's Gambit, though, I loved it so much.
I haven't finished it yet because I started it and I was like, okay, it's great. I love her. I'm rooting for her.
Yeah.
And then the election started and I was like, I can't.
Yeah. I was disappointed in myself because I finished it before the election. And all this week, I was like, I wish I still had the world of Beth Harmon and chess to just distract me from numbers.
Can you play chess?
I can. I'm not like great. I mean, my school had a chess club. Well, I guess it was like
okay.
I mean, I'll explain. My 4th grade teacher was like this weird sexist, and she would have all the girls learn how to knit and all the boys would have to learn how to play chess.
Oh my God.
And I just thought that was stupid. And the boys would get to go outside to play chess because you can like go outside and play. And she would make the girls stay inside and knit. And I would be like, screw this. I'm going to go learn to play chess with the boys. Also, there were only 3 girls in my class. So just imagine like 3 girls forced to stay in a tiny room and knit, and then all the boys are outside.
Where'd you grow up?
Rockford, Illinois. And it's a whatever town. I went to this small weird school, and so I would like as a point of rebellion like go hang out with the boys and learn chess. But for it was as much a political statement as it was me actually caring about chess. I learned enough to play it, and I could beat some of the boys, but I also was like, I'm not going to go like compete at state with you guys. This is about me making a point to Mrs. Sasali about how you can't keep women in a knitting box, bitch.
Yeah, you cannot. It's funny that you say that because I, for some reason, always thought like checkers was more for me and that chess was for boys.
Yeah.
And I was like, you can't wrap your little lady brain around chess. But yeah, we're going to need a lot of TV when we're quarantined again.
Yes.
And Queen's Gambit, I think, is great.
Yeah.
Love that she's smart. She's from a disenfranchised place. So, like, she can relate to other people and other people can relate to her.
Yeah. And, you know, to the show's credit, it's set in the 60s. So, obviously, it's a fairly segregated show. It's set in Kentucky. Yeah. They do try to, like, shoehorn in this, like, Black female friend character. And I had some critiques there because it's a little too, like,
it's a little too, like, help the white like character in her journey. Yeah.
But they do try to like very much make it like clear that she's like, I'm not doing this because I'm your savior. I'm doing this because I know you're gonna pay me back. And she like, you know, has her own aspirations. Yeah, she's like, I have these goals, and you know, so I don't know if the show is getting another season or it's a mini series or like what the deal is, but you know, I think there's room to grow that character, to grow other characters, the way the show uses flashbacks. So I think it's one to invest in. Watch it. It's enjoyable.
This wasn't a show, but somebody recommended me Yes, God, Yes. Did you watch that movie?
No.
It's about a Christian girl who's learning to
on Netflix. Yeah.
Get on board with her sexuality.
Yeah, you know, here's my thing. I obviously started my podcast TV, I say, where I talk about everything I watch on TV, which is too much TV. And that I like don't watch movies. I'm not a TV club person. Like movies, it takes me forever to get around to being like, oh, people said that was good, I guess I'll check it out.
I thought Yes, God, Yes was a TV show. And I was just watching the first episode and I was like, wow, like the timing on this TV show is very interesting. And then I got to the end of it and I was like, it's a movie. Okay. So I actually had that happen to me recently in reverse.
I was like, oh, I want to watch, I think it's like Vampires in the Bronx or something. And it's like Mero from Desi Samaro has, and it's like him with kids in the Bronx, like killing vampires. And I was like, you know what? For Halloween, I'll actually watch a scary movie with like this guy killing vampires. That'll be fun. And I opened Netflix and I was like, what is it? And I was like, oh, I think it's this show, something like Kid Army or something. And I click on the show and I was like, yeah, teens. And I started watching the show called Grand Army. And I was like, it's these kids in like the Bronx. And I'm like, when are they going to start killing vampires? And I was like, when is Mero going to show up? And I was like, wait, I thought this was a movie. And then it was like episodes. And I was like, oh, maybe this is like And then I realized I was watching some like new Netflix teen drama called Grand Army that has nothing to do with
That's
Marrow.
so
It's like,
funny.
and I it took 2 episodes where I realized, oh, this is not what I thought it was.
I went into Napoleon Dynamite, the movie, without ever seeing the commercials, and I thought we were going to see a war film. And then I got there and I was like, oh,
Wow.
okay.
Huh.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know. I like to go into things cold. I like to just like experience it. I don't like to do a lot of research before I watch things,
Mm-hmm.
which sometimes works out. And sometimes you end up like 5 episodes into Grand Army and all of a sudden you're just like, I guess this is just like a
Something I
thrilling
watch
new
now.
Degrassi.
Yeah.
Yeah. I watched the whole thing and I would, if you're into shows like Degrassi or if you like 13 Reasons
Mm-hmm.
Why, Grand Army is a fair it's a fair next step in that tradition. It's like one of those
Mm-hmm.
over the top things where you're like at one point the funniest parts of the show are when a 15-year-old is like, I'm 15, I'm not ready to do acid, and you're like, you look like you have a mortgage, you look like a
Yeah.
35-year-old, like what
It's
is
like
this
Rizzo
school?
in Grease.
Yeah. And that's like the funniest part of the show. But then it is like pretty interesting what it has to say about like the Me Too movement and
Mm.
believing women and, you know, how kids today are growing up, I guess, today. I don't really know how realistic it is.
Yeah.
But,
That's the thing. Like when I watch Euphoria, I'm like, are they all doing drugs?
right? I'm just
Yeah.
like, I mean, I don't know. I went to,
Robin's like, yeah.
yeah, they're really doing it. Wow. I guess these kids today are so cool. I don't know. I have nieces that age and I'll talk to them about like Ariana Grande and think I'm cool. And they're just like, you're lame. That's
So funny. But so there was a part in Yes, God, Yes that made me laugh because it was amazing. But also, she masturbates with a Nokia phone.
yeah.
That's what you did.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Someone
insane.
actually told me that was in that movie and they were like, you should see if they like stole this from one of your tweets. And I was like, I've never tweeted. I've like
You never
talked
tweeted
about
about
it,
it?
but
Okay.
yeah, I was like, I mean, maybe I did and deleted it, but I mean, I feel like it's a common experience if you grew up in the 2000s, early 2000s. Like
Mm-hmm.
I got a cell phone when I was like 12, 13, like 7th grade.
Yeah, same.
And that's around that weird age when you're like, I don't know, you're like staying up late and watching weird stuff on HBO and
Real
Cinemax
sex.
and yeah, real sex. And that was around when the L Word debuted. And
Okay.
uh, I obviously, even at that age, I mean, come on, I grew up in Illinois in a very liberal area. I knew it was okay to be gay.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I saw the cast of the L Word on the Daily Show, and I was just like, oh my God, these are the most gorgeous women of my life. I'm gonna stay up late and secretly watch the L Word. And if I hear my mom, I would like click back to Nickelodeon and be
Yeah.
like, nothing, mama, I'm just watching Growing Pains. And and like something on the show, there's like a part where like one of them talks about like using a vibrating toothbrush, and that like
Mm-hmm.
clicked in my head that I was like, oh, something that vibrates
Mm-hmm.
there.
Yeah.
That's like a thing. And the only thing I had that would vibrate was, of course, like my Nokia phone, like one of those old ones that just like had the
Played
numbers,
Snake.
played
Yeah.
Snake, and like I did buy like a custom phone
And
case that had,
Clam. But shh.
yeah. Oh, I love, yeah. And I just, the only way to get it to vibrate was like to test ringtones.
Yep.
And so I would just like go up and down the menu, like testing ringtones to get it to vibrate. And yeah, just
You have to like find your
yeah,
sound of choice.
yeah, and like I like if you turn the volume down, it would like not really vibrate. So you had to like find your pattern. It was
Mm-hmm.
a whole experience, and I feel like that is common. And that was the first time. Like,
Amazing. And it's yeah, I feel like whenever I tell the story about like discovering how to come, like I'll kind of lie and be like, "Oh, I didn't know really that women could do it for such a long time." But that's not true because
yeah,
you did find out in health class that vibration can help. And
yeah,
so for that reason, a lot of us maybe got a Mach 3 razor from our brother's bathroom or something, or like
yes,
a vibrating toothbrush or
or a
something like that.
toothbrush, or a
Or a
phone, or
phone.
you know, there was I can't remember what show, like one of the, it was some show you watch coming of age range, but they said something about, it might have been the L Word. They say
Mm-hmm.
something about like a shower head and I
Mm-hmm.
was like a removable one, and I was
Yep.
like, holy shit, I have a removable shower head. And it
Yeah.
clicks, you know?
Yeah, no, and they did say stuff like that too, that they were like
Yeah.
shower heads, jets. Like you knew that there were things that got people off,
Yeah.
but then a lot of it, like nobody ever said like you might have to wait longer for like it to work.
Yeah. It's like, and also it's very different with a person.
Yeah.
And I think I don't know. And at my school, they did not really teach us that in health class at all. I went to, again, just a very weird small
Mhm.
school, so I feel like I learned most of that from media. It was like
Mhm.
TV shows that I was learning it from, and that's kind of, I don't know, that's kind of how I learned like how to explore your sexuality with a partner in a healthy way. Uh,
Yeah.
and I don't think everyone grows up like getting to watch the L Word and Real Sex. So that's probably
Well,
why I
no, but
figured
real
out my
sex and the
queerness
L
so
word are
early.
the ones that you like. You do that thing that you flip back and forth, like
Oh
or whatever.
yeah.
Like I loved fucking real sex.
Taxi Cab Confessions, that one.
Amazing.
Oh, love.
MTV Spring Break when everybody
Oh
was
yeah.
half naked,
Oh, Undressed. Did you do?
undressed.
I think about Undressed probably once a week still. There's this episode where like there's a girl basketball player and she's like the star of the basketball team, but she realizes she can only win games if she has sex before the game. And so she
Mm-hmm.
starts like using this guy just for sex before the game, but then like he gets feelings and it's all weird. And I don't know why, but I still just think of her as like
Yeah.
a hero to me. At a young age, I learned like you
You
can
gotta
just
get
have
yours.
sex and it can get your game up. And
Mm-hmm.
if a guy gets feelings, you hide him in a locker. That's, I don't know, that was part of the plot of the episode, but it all made sense and it deeply inspired me.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've definitely have that where I'll be like, we have to have sex before I do this comedy show.
Yeah, it gets the nerves out, you
If I
know.
bomb, it's on you.
It's on you, masturbating, getting it out.
Mm-hmm.
And especially I guess during quarantine, I mean, I'm poly, so I'm not really
Mm.
dating. It's, you know, I had partners I was seeing like kind of long distance, but at a certain point
Yeah.
it's like, you know, it's not worth me breaking quarantine to go like see someone who has a primary and all that stuff. So I've had to rely on so much media to get me through these
Mm-hmm.
like desperately horny times.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thankful. Like I've had Insecure and Normal People on Hulu.
Mm-hmm.
Those are some wonderfully horny TV shows.
Insecure is very horny. I have not seen. What was the other one?
Normal People.
Okay.
It's the okay. I say it's horny, and maybe it's because when it came out, it was like 2 months, 3 months into quarantine, and it's about this couple in
Mm-hmm.
Ireland, and they've known each other since high school, and they go to college together, and it's like a will they, won't they, like
Mm-hmm.
deep lust, and
Mm.
oh my gosh, like they just like touch each other's thumbs, and you're like, oh my god,
Ah.
and but then like I don't know, some people watch it and they're just like, this is like the most slow moving thing, and I was just like, oh my god, like I would just like cut my throat off to just like touch his thigh.
Mm.
So I would recommend watching it. It's a great like horny quarantine watch to like
Do you
see these
like
two people fall in love.
romance horny? Yeah, the best.
Yeah,
Me
it's
too.
like, you know, it's like emotional horny, like
Mm-hmm.
you're like, oh my gosh, he supports her so much, like,
Mm-hmm.
oh my gosh, he's there for her when she needs someone, like, oh my god. And then when they finally do like have these, and also the scenes are really well done. This is one of those shows that I think was like lauded for how it used an intimacy coordinator, and you
Mm.
really feel it, like the two people have so much chemistry that you're like, when will I
Mm.
ever have chemistry with anyone again? When will I just even be in a room with someone ever again?
Also, in those scenes, like the music that they use, like in certain
Uh,
sex scenes, like
yeah.
the sex scenes from True Blood, which was like one of my like earliest like
Oh yeah.
horny shows, like
Horny
that was
show.
my
Yeah,
go-to.
True
Like
Blood is
the
a truly horny
second
show.
you see one of those songs in a sex scene, it goes right to your playlist,
Yeah.
like for masturbating. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. You want, okay, I'm gonna share an embarrassing,
okay,
this is okay, I'm gonna, because I feel safe.
okay,
For
good.
me, a show where a lot of the music inspired me in horny ways is Girls.
Mm,
Uh a lot of my like horny playlist is songs from Girls, which
they
is
have good
like,
music.
they have great music,
Yeah.
and like the Echo Friendly, Same Mistakes, that's one of my favorite songs, and it's like when Hannah and like Adam get back together in some scene, it
Oh,
plays. In those moments I'm just like oh, like when she realizes Adam is dating her friend and like her heart breaks, like
oh my God.
oh, that kind of I also, and like as I said, I started masturbating because of the L word. So for
Yeah.
me, TV and emotion is very tied to my masturbating experience.
Yes.
And it's not about like it's just like setting a mood. It's not
Mm-hmm.
like it's not like I'm putting on the L word. I mean, the L word is hot, but it's like it sets a mood.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the shows I do that with is Grey's Anatomy because I like the
What?
emotion of it. I like to call it
You want to be
Christerbating.
sobbing at the
Yeah,
end?
like you just
Okay.
want to like get all your emotions heightened and you're
Yes.
getting like everything heightened and it's like and you're just like that I'm into. So,
I'm going to share something with you because I feel safe.
yeah.
So like the way that like we're both comedians, right? Like I've often been like, I feel like I'm an emotionian because like, yes, I want to make you laugh, but I would love to make you cry as
Yeah.
well.
So it's like I don't know, I like to set a mood. Sometimes I'll be like, just how about happy ending reruns? Because I just want to like get some giggles in the back. I want to like
Mm-hmm.
enjoy, jubilant
Mm-hmm.
kind of mood. And sometimes I want that Grey's Anatomy, like a cloudy Sunday morning vibe to the
Broken
proceedings.
masturbating.
Yeah,
Cry.
or like
Yeah.
if when I lived in Chicago, I mean, all I would do is like drink until 3 in the morning, bike home alone at night, and like eat tacos in bed crying to Grey's Anatomy masturbating, and
Mm-hmm.
that's a
That's a mood.
process. That's a mood. You gotta. It's a way to
That's an
process.
aesthetic.
So, use television to find your masturbation aesthetic.
Yeah.
It can be a part of the process.
But also you
Uh,
can have like many different ones. Like
oh
I've
yeah.
said this many times, like I can masturbate to Frasier. Like I love Frasier. I love
Okay.
Cheers. Anything that's like
Yeah.
feel good, whatever. Like
Yeah.
I'm just like so like at peace in the world that
Yeah.
like nothing feels weird.
Okay. This is okay. I'll share my okay. The show that like is my longest running like show that I put on when I masturbate is The Daily Show, but only
Wow.
but only episodes with Jon Stewart.
Sure.
It only works with episodes with Jon Stewart. If it's Trevor Noah, it's too distracting and I can't do it.
Well, he's adorable, but it's not an
Yeah.
attraction to him thing, is it?
No, and it's
Yeah.
I don't know, but even like if I just hear the like da, 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 like I am like, where's my vibrator? Like it's like a Pavlovian thing where I'm just like that attuned to, and I think it's partially because my mom would usually like go up to her room and like
About that
do it
time.
about that time. Yeah, and it was like 10:30 in Illinois,
She's
like
going to be
when
locked in.
yeah, and I was just like, she's gone. She can't really hear me. She's doing her thing. I can put the Daily Show on. I got my Nokia phone with me.
Mhm.
Now's my time. And my bedtime was like right after the Daily Show. So that was like, and
Yeah.
I also had a
No.
picture of Jon Stewart like on my wall next to my bed. So may yeah, I'll
It
figure
was
yeah.
it's fine.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
it's a shrine to your time. I used to have a
Yeah.
picture of Steve Martin like on the wall cuz he
Steve Martin's hot,
yeah.
honestly.
Yeah, it was him in the
Yeah.
Pink Panther though, so it was like he was like
Oh.
so old by then and I was just like so
Yeah.
horny for him.
I mean, I feel like that is one of my favorite things about I don't know, being like a teen girl on like hormones or just like going through
Mhm.
that change where I had just the most confusing crushes. I wanted to just like fuck Kurt
Mhm.
Cobain so badly. And he was dead.
Yeah.
But I had like a poster above my bed that was like Kurt Cobain, Jim Morrison, and Jimi Hendrix, and they were all like ghosts. And I would just be like, "Oh man, they're my dream." Like,
I also loved abusive rock stars. I used to cry about the fact that I was not able to be a groupie for Guns N' Roses in the 80s.
yeah, yeah,
Why?
I used to like pray. I'd be like, I wish I could just wake up at Woodstock and like
Yeah.
be with Jimmy. Like I was born in the wrong decade. I used to be like, fuck you, mom. And like my mom was born in 1950. She lived through all of it. And she would just be like, you fucking suck. And I would just be like, you don't know what you had, mom. Like, and the thing is, I was born in 1990. So when Kurt Cobain
Okay.
died, I was like 3 and
Yeah.
I did not aware of it. And I didn't start listening to Kurt Cobain until I was in like 5th grade. A friend was like, you got to check this band out. And he like burned me a CD and
Mhm.
I immediately fell in love. I was like, listening to Nevermind. I was like, this is wow. And I got so into Nirvana, I like made t-shirts with like Sharpies. I was like, I love Nirvana. They're my favorite band. My friend gave me like all their CDs. And then one day I was like sitting at home and watching like a VH1 Behind the Music marathon and an episode about
They're
Nirvana.
like, he's dead.
Yeah. And like, well, I was like, time to watch a documentary about my favorite fucking band. This is so perfect.
Oh
And I sit down and I'm like, holy shit, Nirvana, mom, this, but, and then I keep watching and I just was like, Mom, why didn't you tell me? I was like, why didn't you tell me he died? And she was like, I thought you fucking knew, dumbass. Like, how did you? But it's like, I was just like, why didn't you tell me? Like, I was putting fucking Kurt Cobain pictures all over my walls and you didn't think to be like, you know, he's dead.
You don't have a chance.
Yeah, and it's not like this was like when I could just like go Google it and be like, you know, when I wasn't on like Angel Fire websites like learning about Nirvana, or there wasn't like a Wikipedia page.
That's so funny. Besides the horny shows that we've already, were there any shows that you felt like derailed your sexuality or like mistaught you stuff?
Oh, definitely. The movie The Secretary, James Spader and Maggie Gyllenhaal. It's called Secretary. It came out like early 2000s, but it used to play on IFC late at night all the time. And so like the IFC channel I loved it. I would stay, I was a pretentious asshole of a kid. So I would be like, oh, I'm 15 and I watch the IFC channel.
Yeah.
I saw Secretary and I was just like, oh my gosh, this, and it's like this, if you're not familiar, it's like this girl in her early 20s is like all shy and quiet, and she like gets a job as a secretary in this legal law firm, and the lawyer guy is like, it turns out, into the like all this like S&M shit, and he like is into abusing his secretaries, and he basically starts abusing her, but then it turns out she's into it, so then they start dating, and then she's like, no, I'm in love with you, and he's like, no, you like inhibit the worst in me or whatever. But I like, to me, it just like, I was, and the girl is like, she's quiet and she like cuts herself, she's like dark and complex, so of course I was like, oh my gosh, I relate to this like dark complex girl.
I need to lean into that further.
Partner who is, I need to like have a partner who is so complicated. And there's like a part where he would like tell her what to eat at night and be like, you should have this, like 3 peas and 2 ounces of potatoes, and she would like do it. And like to this
it's like
day,
the original
that is
like
still
50 Shades of Grey
of that, like, and like that's still something that I think is hot, when I'm just like, oh, this person is like telling me what to eat, and like people will just be like, why do you want me to tell you what to get for dinner? And it's like, because of bad habits that a stupid movie I saw on TV when I was like 14 showed me.
Yeah, or it could just be like sub habits. But like,
True.
I think what's implied there is that like if somebody does something like against your will for a while, like, and then eventually like you start to like that makes it okay. And it's like, no,
because like that's the thing, is in the movie doesn't do a great job of being like, she does in the end, she loves it and she like reads books and like educates herself on S&M and is like consenting. But it's like, to get there, it's a very confusing message. So, you know, and I, being like a young queer weirdo, like got to kind of educate myself. And so I was like, well, no, I can enjoy it in a more ethical way. But, you know, I still think the weird things you watch, like, just like shape your sexuality when you're like a preteen.
Yeah, or even just like the most like basic, like I feel like Sex in the City is where like a lot of us, like it was like Sex in the City and then Girls, they're like the building blocks of like kind of like becoming like a sexual woman. And like Sex in the City was like admitting it for the first time. But what always pissed me off about it was that like Carrie, who was like the sex columnist, would never give her opinion on like hot button issues. Like we'd be talking about anal or something, and she would be like, oh, leave me out of it or something. Or like
she acted like she never knew anything about it.
Right. Or she called bisexuality a one-way train to gay town or something like that.
Yeah, I remember that. I did not watch Sex in the City when it first aired. You know, I am Black, and it just did not resonate with me. I watched Living Single and stuff like that, and I don't know, the preppy girls in my school watched that, so I was a little whatever. But actually, over quarantine, I watched all of it. I watched it all in like a week.
Wow.
And the movies. I watched the movies. I watched everything.
Oh my
Wrote
God.
actually an entire like plot for a potential third movie. I got so into
Amazing.
it. And I don't know. I guess at this older age, looking back on it, I could appreciate it as like very of its time. But I
Hmm.
could see how if I was in high school or middle school whenever it came out watching it, how I would have been like, oh my gosh, like this is how I need to be as like a cool woman, or like as if I want to
Hmm.
be this type of woman, I need to like dress and look and act this way and be into these
Totally.
type of sex acts. Um
But
yeah.
also, if I'm going to be a sexual person, like I feel like pre nose jobs, I looked just like Sarah Jessica Parker. And so I think I really related to, like, I was like, okay, so you can be sexual, but like you have to be, you can't really be loud about it, even
Yeah.
if you're the sex columnist. Like it's still like icky if you're the one talking about masturbating.
Yeah.
Like they always gave the different storylines to the other women. That if it was like,
Yeah.
if someone's going to hook up with a woman, it's going to be Samantha. If someone's going to masturbate, it's going to be Charlotte.
Yeah. And it's like there's still a sense of respectability you're supposed to have.
Mm-hmm.
You know, things you wouldn't do, things you know, there's like a sense of still shame inherent in it. Uh so I
Like
don't know.
Charlotte admits to licking guys' butts like first,
Yeah, I
and
think so.
everybody's like, Charlotte. And she's like, what? They like
What?
it. And it's supposed to be like funny, but it's like, no, yeah, they do. Like,
They do, but instead it's like they play it off as like she's so stupid that she does that. It
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we still need sort of some type of show that just is really kind of real about female sexuality and queer sexuality.
Yeah.
I think sadly Girls is still kind of the closest that we've gotten. I
Who's
mean,
gay and girls besides Elijah? I can't think of
yeah,
any
I
same
mean,
sex
well,
sex
there's
scenes.
when Hannah goes to like a silent retreat with her mom, she tries to have sex with a woman,
Oh
and
yeah.
and
Later.
like yeah, and like
Way
ends
later
up,
seasons.
yeah, and she like, yeah, way later, and yeah.
I
So
think
there is
Euphoria
that.
is doing like a better job,
Oh yeah,
definitely.
Euphoria for
Because like,
sure.
yeah.
But I
It,
don't know, I feel like that, I mean, I feel like with Euphoria it's more on the ground, like something my nieces are also watching, where it's more like laying the groundwork of like, I don't know, a Grand Army or 13 Reasons Why or Degrassi, where it's like we're taking on these like topics of a new generation.
mm-hmm.
But like, I don't know, I'm a millennial and I still feel like people are like, don't you guys are just like Emily in Paris, right? You just keep your shirt on during sex, and you know, I don't know.
No.
It's like, no, I'm not. Like, I don't know, where's our, I feel like all we got was Hannah Horvath. It's just the scene in Emily in Paris when she like gets eaten out and she like acts like it's never happened before, and she's just like, oh my goodness, what's going on?
I know. Or what about when she fucks that child and the mom is
Yes.
just like, oh, so how is my son as a lover? And nobody's
Yeah.
like, he's 17.
Yeah, and they're just like, this is cool or funny. I really don't know what the show is trying to do in that moment, but I think it would be cool to just have a show about like a 30-year-old woman who like has normal sex with people her age.
Yeah.
And I don't know, she could be like bisexual or poly or weird or whatever, but I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't even need to be in Paris. She could just be
She could
anywhere.
be in LA. She
Yeah.
could.
Chicago, New York, Jersey, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Emily in a COVID bubble.
Yeah. Anything
um,
is better than sort of like what they're giving us.
do you think TV is going to change? Like, obviously, unscripted has changed because, like, COVID is like a very real thing. So you have to like address it. Like, I watch a lot of Bravo, and like COVID's been like a storyline for like every show, and it's
Oh yeah,
great.
I obviously watched a lot of 90 Day Fiance, and they
Okay.
did an entire like spin-off
Oh, yeah. Wait, didn't
series.
Seth Rogen say he would come on and talk about 90 Day?
Yeah, he
That's
is. I'm
so
freaking out about it. Yeah, that is on the pod TV. I say we have an upcoming conversation
congratulations.
with Seth Rogen and Roxanne Gay discussing 90 Day Fiance. That'll be coming up
Unreal.
later this month. Uh, it's such a good show. And they did a whole spin-off thing where they like address quarantine. They did like
Mm-hmm.
90 Day Fiance in quarantine, and they just like gave everyone cameras to film themselves. And I feel like, yeah, TV's going to change, and it kind of already is. If you do watch any scripted stuff, like
Mm-hmm.
a lot of ABC sitcoms have had to change the way they film, and you can kind of notice
Oh
that
yeah,
they
with
like will
like their
only
like
shoot things with
sex
certain
doubles and
casts,
stuff.
or
Yeah.
yeah, and like stand-ins and stuff like that. So I don't know. I think we're going to see TV shift. The way that they're shooting everything is different, and like
Or
ways
not
they've
even
learned to
just
edit
shooting though,
things. They
like
can do everything over computers now. Yeah.
as like a writer or like a like pitching shit, like I'm like, can we pitch stuff where people touch each other? Cuz like they shouldn't. Like
Yeah.
it would be interesting to see a show where corona like exists in a scripted world.
Yeah, I think Blackish Superstore have introduced COVID in their storylines, and Superstore is doing it in a more realistic way, where they're like, well, these people work in a store, so
Mhm.
we see gloves and stuff like that. And Blackish was just kind of like, we're gonna do one episode about COVID, and then the next episode was just like, okay, we're in a
Back to
post-COVID world,
normal.
let's move on. I don't know. I've been, yeah, like as a writer, I'm kind of just like, okay, what do? Do you write it in this moment? Do you say, this purposely takes place in a pre-COVID world because you don't even want to deal with it? Or
Mhm.
do you just say, we're moving on? Like,
This is
I
in a
don't
world
know.
where it
I
didn't
guess I
exist.
feel like
There's a lot of
at some point I'm going to,
flashbacks.
yeah, I don't know. I feel like at some point we're all either going to get super tired of COVID storylines,
Mm.
or I don't know how they're going to, I feel like by the time we get to the Grey's Anatomy COVID episode, that's
Yeah.
when it's going to be like, let's all move on. Come on.
Yeah. Apparently, there's a show on Netflix called Social Distance about quarantine
Yes.
struggles.
Actually, Steven Weber is in it. I just had him on my podcast. He mentioned
Mm-hmm.
it. I have not watched it yet, but I guess it's like all filmed over Zoom or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't
And
know. I
yeah,
don't know anything about it, but like if you like COVID content, it's out there. But I'm
it's
always
yeah.
thinking about like, hmm,
That's like I think the third COVID show actually. There's another one on Hulu that's like called Love Connection or something. I've seen the ads. It's like two phones connected by cords.
mm-hmm.
There's been just so many attempts to Mythic Quest on Apple TV. It did a whole episode over just like Zoom.
Yeah, but so for dating shows and reality shows, I love that and I don't love that COVID exists, but I love adding that layer to like Love
yeah,
Island this year. Like a lot of those cast members said that they otherwise wouldn't have gone on the show if they hadn't been so starved for like touch and testing, like, and just being in an environment where like you're encouraged to hook up. And like
yeah,
I was like, okay, we definitely got like a better cast because of it.
yeah. I mean, you put me on a show like that right now, I would go wild.
Mm-hmm.
I would. Oh my! I this whole year just feels like a waste. And this is I'm 29. I turned 30 this month, and I'm just like I feel like I should get a do over.
I know. No, everybody stops aging this year.
Yeah, it doesn't count actually.
But actually, like the time that we've spent inside, we weren't getting sunburnt or getting wrinkles. Like it's better. I
It's true. My
promise. We're so
skin's
young.
never been better. I've just been doing my routine. I don't really go outside, so
Mm-hmm.
great.
Mm-hmm. What else are other good shows that I like that I was going to talk about? Okay, True Blood makes me horny. Duh.
Yeah.
Anything vampires is like pretty horny.
Yeah,
Um,
vampires are just hot. I was watching a lot of What We Do in the Shadows over
the
quarantine.
best.
So funny. And this
So
second
funny.
season, it was like just an all-star season. Every episode was so funny.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Oh,
I think people should talk about it more.
mm-hmm. No, you guys should watch it and the movie version as well.
Yes.
So fucking funny.
So funny, and a lot of hot people in it.
Mm-hmm.
The guy who plays Nandor, he's dreamy.
Shows that do sex ed well too. We were saying, Big Mouth.
Yes, Big Mouth. They're doing a spin-off of Big Mouth that's like the same team. And it's supposed to be about like the hormone monsters. If you remember the
Mm-hmm.
episode where they like go to, and it's like a whole episode based on that, or a whole show based
Hormone
on
Land.
that
Yeah.
concept. Yeah, I am so excited for that too. I love that whole team and all those people, like everything those people work on. I'm like, please.
Mm-hmm.
Sex Education is also on Netflix. That,
I
speaking of, so
know.
good.
I like avoided that one like the plague because I feel like it's very similar to my journey. Like the guy can't come and I couldn't come, and I was like, well,
Oh,
if this show exists, then a how come TV show could never exist. So shut it down. But I don't think that's true now.
no, he's like I mean, I don't know. He's like, his mom is like a sex educator,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, I mostly watch for her actually. She's
Yeah,
like,
she's so great.
she's so great, so amazing and hot, and it's like every other character is so more interesting than him that you're like, oh right, this guy is in the show too. And like, oh
Mm-hmm.
right, I guess like he can't come or something, but like I'm really just like, oh my god, his like gay black best friend is like the coolest character I've ever seen.
I'll watch it. I think I
It's
was just
yeah.
like I didn't want the competition. But I think about that now and from when I first heard about it and I'm like, no, that's so stupid because that's like there being like one show about sex ever. Like, no, there's so
No,
many different types of sex and
yeah.
people having
Do
sex.
you white guys get to make so many shows about like their love lives and whatever stupid careers they have or whatever. We can have so many shows about sex. So
So
many.
many shows. So many different types of people. How I was speaking of different types of people, when did you come out as poly?
I feel like I'm fairly rare in this regard because I realized I was poly fairly young.
Mhm.
I was, I guess when I was 18
Mhm.
is when I kind of was like, I don't know that monogamy is for me. I was reading a lot of Simone de Beauvoir, and
Mhm.
like I said, I was very pretentious, and I was just kind of like, I had this like long-term partner, and I was like, hey, so I want to go to college in a different state. I think we should still be together. What if we like did an open thing, but we're still together? And he was all about it. You know,
Mhm.
he ended up proposing. So I was like, yeah, we're gonna have this like very hip new age
Cute.
understanding of marriage where I
Yeah.
travel the world and like I'm free to do my thing and I have lovers everywhere, but this is like, you know, my primary or whatever.
Mhm.
So that was kind of when I figured it out when I was like 19, 20 for sure. And then of course my senior year of college, we absolutely broke up, did not get married. Like he was a horrible person. I ended up
Oh.
single and I was kind of just like, oh my God, I'm never gonna go through that type of experience again.
Mhm.
But uh, like I still believed in love. It wasn't necessarily that
Sure.
I didn't want relationships, but I didn't
Mhm.
want sort of, I don't know, there was like a burden or responsibility that was expected because we had this label of being engaged. You
Yeah.
know, those labels mean sometimes more to society and other people than like what they mean to you and
Mhm.
your partner. And that I didn't like. Like his family basically like acted like I was a second mother to him. He was like on my
Mhm.
family self, like those kinds of responsibilities and things that I was like, what is paperwork and legal all this? You know, that's not what I wanted. So
Right.
after college is when I kind of realized I'm gonna be solo poly. I'm just gonna like, and that was like a new phase of my polyamory when I was like, I'm gonna do this on my own and not like have a primary. So,
Mhm.
you know,
And
that
it's a
I
totally
consider that
different
my like,
experience.
yeah. And
Yeah.
it's very, I guess, hard for people to understand women when they're solo poly.
Right.
And I think most poly women are usually in a situation where they're dating a guy who wants an open relationship, and the guy is like, you can date girls, but not
Mm.
other guys, which I think is a horrible agreement.
Right,
Uh,
because it means they're not acknowledging the fact that yes, there's a chance she might fall in love with a
with a
woman.
woman, and
Yeah.
sex between women is valid, you know,
Doesn't count.
doesn't
Yeah.
count, or it's, you know, it just centers men in the whole, which I think is
Right.
horrible. But it's like, I don't know, it's like the trap so many poly women I know get stuck in, and I would meet
Mhm.
so many, and they would just be like, wait, you're just like single,
Mhm.
like you don't. And I would just be like, yeah. And they're like, but you see other people? And I'd be like, yeah, but you know, they all, you know, I,
Yeah.
but like they all know I'm single. Like I can have three boyfriends, but they all know that I'm single.
Mhm. Mhm.
uh and I don't
Actually, I was
know.
gonna say so we had Sharon season 1, and then Lorraine actually was on this season 2, and both of them are solo poly, and they're both
Hell yeah.
women. So all the ones
Yeah,
that we
like
know.
we're out here, and I don't know, guys always
Mhm.
think you're like lying. They're always like, she's just saying that so she can seem cool,
Seem
but
cool.
once
Yeah.
we start dating, she's like in love with me and wants to lock this down, and I'm just like, no.
You're like, I genuinely feel this way.
Yeah, like it's cool.
Does that ever throw them for a loop if like they think
Yeah, I don't
it's
know.
gonna be different? Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like guys will, I don't know, there's something in their brains that like trick them into being like, no, women want this, they expect romance, like every woman's end goal is to lock me down. uh and so a lot of
Mhm.
times they like will trick themselves into being like Ashley, like say you're deeply in love with me, or like I
Yeah.
don't know, wanting like more from me or something. It's just weird the expectations they kind of put on you, and you're just like, no, I laid out all my expectations with my actual words. I'm not like playing some female enigma mind trick where I'm trying to like convince you that I want something else. I'm just being honest.
That's
Uh,
a trope that kind of has to go away too, and I
yeah,
think we see that a lot of media is like girls pretending they're not interested when they are and
yeah.
saying no, like, and making that like, I mean,
Yeah,
this
like,
is
and
like
if
a
but you
rape
can,
culture
yeah,
thing,
it's
but
a rape
also
culture where it's like you can
yeah,
convince her, or she just doesn't realize
yeah.
that like her dream is actually being a housewife, and it's like, no, no, I know what, no, what I'm saying is what I mean. Like, I'm not trying to be your second wife someday. Like, that's not my goal here.
Mm-hmm.
So, this is what I want, and if you can't accept it, then I'm gonna move on. And I think a lot of times they're like shocked when I move on. They're just like what? Women aren't supposed to just be able to
Yeah.
do that. Like,
Probably hurts more. It's like when a guy turns you down for sex and you're like, wait, guys aren't supposed to. It's
what?
like, no, they can.
No, they can. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's fine.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think, I don't know. I think a lot of people come to experience polyamory, and it's usually through like burlesque or some shitty situation where a guy is like, you can only date girls, and that gives you a
Mm.
bad experience of polyamory. But just
Mm-hmm.
know there are like normal people out here doing it our own way. We don't wear
Yeah.
fedoras, we don't do burlesque. We're just like normal people who prioritize romance and friendship differently in our lives.
I haven't
So
seen a scripted show about poly people. I know that there was that unscripted one on Showtime, the reality show that it was just called Polyamory.
yeah,
And it was okay. It was super white and super like
yeah,
thin, like quote unquote digestible bodies.
yeah. It's, I don't know, there's a lot of like reality show things about polyamory, but they're all either very white, and I don't know, like rich white people, or slightly like cultish rich white people, or it's the other end where it's like super weirdo religious, and it's like my three sister wives and I. But
Mm-hmm.
there hasn't just been like, and there have been a few shows. Single Parents is like a
Mm.
ABC sitcom I loved, and they had a character who was like in like a three-way relationship and was poly and bisexual. So
Mm-hmm.
it's something that like will come up casually as like a character trait that's usually treated as a
Yeah.
joke.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like we have any shows really kind of just like treat it like a simple reality of like, oh, I have a date with this partner. And I guess they tried really hard to have Dro be like in an open marriage, but it was
Mm-hmm.
still like, oh, isn't this scandalous? It's still
Mm-hmm.
very like, we're using polyamory to shock.
It's
And I'm
part of
just, I
their,
don't know,
yeah,
I guess
a
it's shocking
character
still to
trait
some.
that you normally wouldn't be like, okay, we can do an episode on this. Like it would be like, let's do an episode on her being
Yeah,
blonde.
yeah, like like it's always like very special episode tone, like, and that's what we learned about polyamory this week, you guys. And usually
Right.
the lesson is something like all men are liars who will cheat, and it's always like a very bad lesson, like,
Yeah.
I don't know, someday hopefully we get a just portrayal
Robin
of polyamory.
just said, Robin, do you want to turn off your mute and say what you just said to me?
Oh yeah, I just said that you, me, her is somewhat is polyamory scripted, but they're together. They do like break up as a couple and go off and out dating in the poly sort of world, but it's very white and very kind of cringe at times. But it's something at
Yeah,
least.
I did watch that show.
It's a new season.
Yeah, I totally forgot about it. It's really
It's
one of
like,
those shows where it's really one of those shows where I like watched a whole season of it and I went, I guess that happened, and then I just move on, and then someone mentions it and it like flashes before my eyes, and I'm just like, wow, I watched every
You're like
season of
re-rolling.
Revenge. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. I watched
And
Revenge too. Why?
yeah, and just like just forgot about it, and then one day someone was like, they might reboot Revenge, and I was just like, Flash, like, that's so
Yes.
Raven. I've seen every episode of that. I can't believe I just forgot.
I used to intern at this place, and like when the boss would leave, we would watch Smash on Hulu.
Oh, I love Smash.
And I totally forgot that like I watched Smash, like, because I did it like while I was like at a job, and then like 3 years later, somebody started singing this song, and it was like Deja Smash, like all came back.
I want to rewatch it, and it's so hard to stream anywhere. But like, so if someone just like sings a song from it, I'm just like, yes, smash, please. God, that show was so good. If I love a show, I will just beg. I am the biggest hype person. Like, I think the best, like the Seduce documentary, the documentaries that came out about Keith Raniere and Nexium and the sex cult.
I haven't watched them yet.
Yeah, so there were two.
I don't like cults.
I'm super into cult stuff. There were 2 documentaries that came out, and one is like 9 episodes. It's called The Vow. It came out on HBO. Everyone was like, it's so good. Oh my God, it's like so long. And I hated it. I was like, this doesn't tell the whole story. And then another one came out called Seduced on Stars, but people were kind of ignoring it. And I just was like, no, I need to tell everyone about this injustice. Everybody needs to watch Seduce. And I just would tweet about it constantly, and just like, until eventually just everyone was tweeting about it. A bunch of articles came out that were like, yes, Seduced is the better one. I wrote an article that was like, come on, Seduced is the better one.
I feel like I did that for Love Island. Like, I made every New York City comedian watch Love Island. I think I started a podcast just for Love Island so that people would watch it. Like, because there's just stuff that you're like, this has taught me so much, and I think you will benefit.
You'll benefit. I just think if I think people will enjoy something, I want them to enjoy it. And I don't need to get anything from that. I just love spreading TV joy.
Me too.
Especially horny TV now during quarantine.
Me too. Yeah. And the thing is like, you don't have to watch, like, my like Twitter thing before comedy, anything was, I don't watch bad TV. I watch all TV.
Yeah.
Like, so you don't have to put yourself in a box of like, oh yeah, I like reality shows, so I can't like dramas. Like, you could like everything. You could like nothing.
Exactly. I don't know. A lot of people talk about like peak TV, and as a TV critic, how, you know, you should watch and like a certain caliber of show. And I just really disagree with that. I am just like, if something resonates with you, it resonates. My favorite shows during quarantine, 2 of them have been Intervention and Hoarders. Like, those are not peak TV shows, but like, they click with me. I can binge Hoarders for hours. I felt rescued
by RuPaul's Drag Race and The Real Housewives of New York and Beverly Hills. If they had not been around during quarantine, I would not. And those are the things that my mom used to be like, oh, those are a dirty little secret. Like, you don't tell people about their shows. I'm like, no, those things I bond with people super hard on now, because you can turn your brain off and just gossip about somebody that has nothing to do with you.
Exactly. And like Teen Mom is one where people would be like, wow. I had an ex-boyfriend who would be like, you just like admit to people that you watch Teen Mom. And I'd be like, yeah, I don't care. I fucking watch Teen Mom and Catfish. Like, they're fun shows.
And you learn a lot. Like, people make fun of me, but I look at Love Island and the Housewives like franchise as like anthropological studies. Like, this is how women in this part of the country fight. This is how like a bunch of people will fall in love if you like orchestrate and hyper produce everything.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know, all of those, like the Netflix reality shows, the dating shows that came out, Love is Blind, The Circle. Gosh, I can't believe those were this year. It feels so long ago.
Tiger King was this year.
Yeah, like, Tiger King. What was the Love? It was like people with autism in love.
Oh, Love on the Spectrum.
Love on the Spectrum. Oh, that one.
My favorite show.
Loved that show. I loved it so much. And that was like one of my highlights during quarantine, where I was just like, oh, like I have faith in humanity and faith in we're going to like get everyone their soulmate. Like, those shows, if they give you hope, if they resonate, it's peak TV. Like, peak TV
really is.
Just whatever makes you feel.
My boyfriend and I watched that series together, and we both cried at the finale, and I was like, I love him.
Yeah. It's just such a moving show.
It really is.
The one guy who's just like, all I've ever wanted to be was husband. I was just like, oh,
a number one partner. That's me.
I just want to be a husband, and I'm going to love my wife, and
she will be my number one prize in life.
Life. And I was like, yes, she will.
I love them
Yeah.
all. Please watch that show, you
Oh,
guys.
watch that show. It's so good.
I hear The Boys is good. I don't know if it's horny, but everyone likes that.
I love The Boys. I would not say it is horny because it's so visceral in a disgusting way. I love superhero shows. And The Boys is a really good one, and it's dark and it's funny, and it's just like your heart, you feel like you're gonna have a heart attack every episode. It's just edge of your seat. What are they gonna do? They take really weird risks. But it's just mostly weird, but it is really good. And I would
It's
say
like a little
the
appropriate
hornier
for right now
version-
too, though.
Yeah, it's very like it's very on the nose politically. It has like stand-ins for Trump and all of this stuff, and like it's very much making a point about like, you know, fascism in America. And I think it does it pretty well. Like it's, you know, political enough that you aren't rolling your eyes at it. It's not like super cringy. It stays pretty on focus, but it's just, it doesn't quite get to horny because you're just so afraid. It's like too gross and terrifying. Like whenever you're just like, oh, is this person hot? Is this horny? Then it's like all of a sudden like things are like body parts are exploding everywhere. And you're like, oh no, this
can't be
is
horny
gross.
with that. What is the
Yeah,
horny
can't
version that
be-
you were gonna say?
I would say a hornier version is Umbrella Academy. If you're into that genre of show of superhero, Umbrella Academy is way hornier, which I know is weird because siblings.
I haven't watched it. I've just seen the TikToks based off of it.
Yeah, it's, you know, it's, yeah, it has like
I'm embarrassed of myself this episode. I like haven't watched any TV.
No,
I've just been watching the news.
That's just healthy, and the problem is that I watch too much TV. That's all that it is. It's
my friend who I'm still friends with in high school, she used to get so mad at me because she'd be like, "What'd you do last night?" I did like 8 hours of homework, and I'd be like, "Oh, I watched like 8 hours of TV," and she'd go, "Can you just call it neuroscience at this point because like it's making me mad?" And I'd be like, "Okay, so I watched neuroscience on MTV last night."
Yeah, that's what I do. I'm constantly watching TV. I don't know. It's a problem. Like I'll just get bored and be like, I feel like watching 5 episodes of season 4 of Gossip Girl for no reason because it's a Thursday. I rewatched like 2 seasons of 30 Rock last week for no real reason. And then I'll sit down and be like, oh, that was just like 6 hours of my life.
Yeah. No,
like that was
I
just,
love
yeah,
that.
I just like sat down and rewatched something I've seen so many times. But I mean, I guess nice. I write TV. I write about TV, so I have to some extent study it. But also I just love it. Yeah.
But the reason why you love it and why you're able to study it so much is because, like, it's not just because it's something you do. It's because it's something you love.
I love it.
I used to think
TV.
of it as like, oh my God, it's such a waste of time. You know, like everybody makes you think it's such a waste of time when you're a younger person, especially like when homework is due.
Yeah.
And now, like, as a comic, as a writer, as an editor, like it's like you know the cadence of stuff because you've watched so much stuff. You know the options for flashbacks. Like that was an education.
Yeah, and it's, my mom used to always be like, go outside and play, go make friends, and I was the kid who would always be like, no, I want to stay in and watch Saturday Night Live reruns on Comedy Central. And now I'm just like I learned how to write sketch because I watch so much.
Totally.
You know, I still love watching Saturday Night Live because I just have for so long. And it really, those types of shows, watching like The State and all of that, really shaped my own comedy and my own voice and gave me an idea of what I could do. So to me, I don't know if it's like, if I can write my own stories and make my own shows and encourage other people to want to tell their own stories, that's the best outcome.
Totally.
Because I think just the more things we give people to engage with, the better the world will be, the more inspiring things can be.
Totally. And it's like nourishing. Like, don't let anybody shame you for loving TV and getting shit from TV if you love TV, because
if you love it,
you might not necessarily go into it, but if it feeds your soul, like, why not delight in that?
Right. And like, people don't do that with movies. People are never like shaming people for like being like, oh, I watched like 3 Ingmar Bergman movies. And I have a film background. I studied film in college too. And I did the whole like fucking pretentious movie, you know, oh, let's like watch Hitchcock, whatever. And it's so empty to me. I don't know. It's like I feel like your time being diverse and sort of breaking away from white criticism and the sort of pedestal of white men. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
it dominates still so much in movies. Like, you know, most film classes are still gonna be like, oh my gosh, you have to learn Woody Allen and Polanski. And
Mm-hmm.
I hated that. And then TV is like, I would study the history of TV, and it's like, okay, in the 70s you already had shows like Good Times, and this
Yeah.
is like Norman Lear, this is like people who are shaping TV and sitcoms and how they're even still made today. And
Mm-hmm.
there was just an earlier opportunity for diversity, and I just think that's a way more interesting story.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't make sense to me that we're like, oh, we look down on you because you know, you want to talk about like Living Single or these TV shows, but oh, it's
Yeah.
so artsy and we should praise it if you want to like lick Martin Scorsese's dick or whatever.
Yeah. No, TV like progresses or evolves faster.
Yeah.
And
It's
it's like there's so many different stories that you could tell, and you also get like to know so many different characters.
yeah, I it can be a reflection of our times because it has to respond to things so quickly. There's more you can
Mm-hmm.
do with TV and movies. The movie, you know, the film Twitter people, they come for me sometimes because I'm so TV deep.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think you can take more risks with TV. You can play around with things. it it's just more room to tell certain arcs and certain stories, and I think as we get more complex representation on TV, and I think that's important, we really
Mm-hmm.
need to look at the benefits of TV and the different ways it can be made versus just saying, oh well, you know, it's not a movie so it's not as prestigious, or
Yeah.
and I think as like we get more streaming, that's becoming more the break where it's like, oh well, you have this streaming show but it was like a Quibi show or an Apple TV show, and that's not as prestigious as like a Hulu or
Mm-hmm.
Netflix show. And I think we just need to break all of that down and just be like, TV is TV, and if you like it, enjoy it and
What do
watch
you
it.
like? Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Also, if you don't like TV that day, it is so fine to go to TikTok in your
yeah.
bed.
TikTok, one of my favorite shows.
It's one of my favorite shows.
Yeah,
It's the best.
you can just
That
hours.
so quickly evolving.
Yeah,
So many inside jokes and layers.
yeah, and that's why like channels like MTV are just like reruns of ridiculousness, and then it's just people watching
Mm-hmm.
TikTok on TV,
Mm-hmm.
which is like, okay, fine.
Literally.
Yeah.
Okay, if you had to rattle off your favorite feel-good shows, what would
Ooh.
they be?
I would go with Happy Endings, Living Single, 30 Rock, Tuca and Birdie,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and 90 Day Fiance. Any version of 90 Day Fiance.
Yeah, 90 Day is one of those ones that's like real addictive. Like I never intended to watch it, and then like I got sucked in at a friend's house and finished a season.
Yeah.
So prepare to lose a day with that.
Yeah, once you get into 90 Day, it's like quicksand. You just like don't get out. Like once you find the couple you love, it's just a
Mm-hmm.
never ending swirl.
I think for my feel goods, I would say Cheers and Frasier, which I named before. Um, The Good Place.
Yeah.
Schitt's Creek. I don't. Which one? Not The Office anymore. I've watched it too many times.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Jane the Virgin.
Ooh, I have not watched that. I don't think I ever finished it. I think I have some
Oh,
seasons of that to watch actually.
that's like multi feeling. Like there's like, it's just great though.
Yeah. Uh
It's a great fucking
I
show.
always was really into Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, and they were like on at the same time, and I would sometimes
Mm,
like I don't know, at some point I just stopped I should catch up on that this week.
mm-hmm. I started Crazy Ex-Girlfriend and then I stopped midway through season 1. I don't know
Yeah.
why.
It's worth finishing. It's a
Yeah,
good show. It gets, and the
yeah,
second season of it is really strong.
cool.
Yeah.
Oh, and then one horny one I would say is Friday Night Lights.
Ooh, Friday Night
Because
Lights is
everyone's
so
like so
horny.
hot,
Yeah.
and yeah, Tim Riggins,
Oh, Riggins. Ooh, Riggins. Friday Night is so horny.
so horny. I can't think of anybody else I'm like that horny for
Yeah,
besides
I'm trying
like
to think of some more horny shows I watch.
I know Vampire Diaries people get really horny for.
People
I have not watched
yeah,
it.
I haven't watched that, but I know people get horny over that in like Riverdale, but I don't really I don't
Those
really
are too young
engage.
for me.
Yeah, too young. I'm not
Outer
trying
Banks, like I know apparently they're very hot, but like I can't.
Yeah. I need a like more of age thing.
Watch the OC, you guys. If you've never watched the
Yeah.
OC, that's fun. Or Laguna Beach.
Yeah, those shows are making a comeback right now. Like it's time. It's like they're vintage now. They're like my nieces are like, "Oh my gosh, I love vintage TV like Jersey Shore." And then I feel
hilarious.
So yeah.
That's amazing. My boyfriend's like nieces asked me who Paris Hilton was the other day, and I was like, "Wow,
gosh,
the hope
precious,
for America."
You precious children.
It's
wow.
Amazing. All right, well, I've kept you forever.
Cool.
I feel like
I think we got it. I feel I feel like I was talking. I hope it was good.
It was great.
I think it was. This was really fun.
So fun. I hope I know you're gonna get reinstated, but what a funny day. I was gonna be like, where can everybody find you on the internet?
I guess now on Instagram at the Ashley Ray. My website www.theashleyray.com. I'm sure my Twitter will be back eventually at the Ashley Ray. Yeah. So
amazing. And Ashley, I have to ask this to all of our guests after a sexual experience, which this has been. Did you finish?
Yes.
Okay, amazing.
Absolutely. I did.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Of course. And we will see you guys next time on How Come. Goodbye.
Bye.
Robin, say goodbye.
Bye.
It's not you, it's me. I try so hard to finish honestly. They say you'll know when you go all the way from A right down to O. Oh no, I think that I still got a ways to go. Oh, I'm sick of this and I have got to know. How come? How come? How come I can't achieve? How come I can't achieve? I'm rolling up my sleeves. I'm rolling up my sleeves. Oh baby, I believe these guests can help. 'Cause I can't do it by myself. I wanna just